Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace and blessings upon you all. You're getting in free peace and blessings. So that's great. Anyways, I want to welcome you all to the program implementation of abstract classes. So before this video, I would say that you should watch the introduction of the abstract classes and interfaces. So anyways, we are having here one class of abstract person in my UOD college, for example, and I got three subclasses: student, teacher, and employee. Now if you could see, they are all extending from the person. That means they are the subclasses of the class person. So we're having a situation like this. We have a person class and we have a 1, 2, and 3 subclasses. They basically all get extended from the person class, right? This is my person class, this is my student class, this is my teacher class, this is my employee class. So what I'm gonna do is I will keep all the common things in it, okay? And also in this, so this P, the parent class, which is the person class, will be abstract class, because I don't want to have an instance of this, because I have the objects like student, teacher, and employee, not a person. Similarly, if I want to have some function, for example, get details. So would you like to have a get details of the person in a college? No. You would have a get details of a student, get details of a teacher or employee. But we can build a contract between these guys. That is by having an abstract method inside an abstract class. That's very important, because every abstract class should have one abstract method, but you can have no abstract class without abstract method. We can still have an abstract. What's the use of it? We will see it later on. But if we have a method here abstract, okay, then the class should be abstract. So what I'm saying is, if I'm having here a abstract method, you know, I'm saying like abstract get details. This is my method here, and I just put a terminator over it to say that this is a abstract method, and I have to have here some return type also. Maybe I will return some string type. I'm returning a string from this method, okay? So in the abstract class, I will have some data here, common data here, but I'm having one method which is abstract, and you must note it down that if your any class has an abstract method, then the class also has to be abstract. So what is this abstract method doing here? It is only a contract between the person class and any subclass of it. What we're saying is, if you see, we have abstract class string get details here, but I am having student class which is inheriting from the person class. I'm having teacher which is inheriting from the person. So any subclass which is the subclass of the parent person got a contract now. They have to implement this. So this abstract method, so if anybody say what is an abstract method, you will say it's something like this: a guy with a head. Okay, we got a head, but where is the body? It doesn't have a body, with no body. So it doesn't have a body. So where you will build its body? Okay, that body has to be built inside the child classes, right? These classes, the three classes we have here, subclasses, student, teacher, employee, they have to compulsory implement this method inside them. And what this will serve as a contract, that this method, what you're gonna implement, will have a return type string and you're passing nothing to it, the argument's nothing, or you could have some arguments also. So this will serve as a contract between these guys and the person class. So this abstract method, which has the head only, okay, but no body, is the abstract method, but without a body. So where is the body? The body of this person here, I'm saying the body of this basically will be created inside these guys. Getting me or not? So what is the abstract method doing? It's only serving as a contract. We will discuss more about it in the future. Here now I will try to also create some some data variables here inside a person class. But you should also know that the person class can have not only the abstract method, it can have the concrete methods. So what is the difference between concrete method and an abstract method? So a difference between concrete method and abstract method is abstract method doesn't have a body and concrete methods are normal methods which have a body. Okay, and your abstract class can have the concrete methods as well. It can have other fields as well. You can put a lot of fields here, no problem. You can put abstract method there, you can put concrete method there, so everything can be there. But you cannot instantiate it. We have seen that in our last video also. Are you getting me or not? So why we are doing this thing, you'll understand it very shortly. Now here in a person class, maybe I have, say for example, string type name. Okay, now you can have many more things like address, telephone number and all. That will be, you know, quite understood. For simplicity I will make only one variable, that's a name. In the student I will have a one variable, say for example integer type roll number. Okay, now it's showing me, if you see on the side, it's showing me an error because I am not implementing the abstract class, because abstract class string which returns string type and get details is to be implemented here, which has a body here. So we can say this need to be overridden. So if I say abstract class, that means it cannot be instantiated. If I say abstract method, that means it need to be overridden by the subclasses. This is important. So you could see all the three classes are showing me the errors because they are not implementing the get details. We have to we have to implement this get detail inside the student and teacher and employee class. Now let's fill up first the methods for the data fields which we have in a teacher. Maybe we have the double salary, SALARY, perhaps the spelling is that, I don't know. And in employee maybe I have a string type designation. So I will say designation, DESG for short. So employee will have a designation, teacher will have a salary, student have roll number, and the person class is a name. And person class can have, you know, a lot of more things which are common to all of them. But when I'm extending from the person, that means whatever is in a person class is also of student class, is also of teacher class, is also of employee class, right? So student class not only has roll number, this time it is also the name. If there would have been some age and all addresses, telephone number, that all would have been here. I don't have to write it in the student class. I don't have to write those in a teacher class. So code will be reused because of inheritance. Now abstract class will help us and abstract method will help us in polymorphism. We'll see very shortly. Here we can have, you know, we have done a, if you see abstract class person, I'm talking abstract class person, right? And it, I'm having now a string name. This is the common data types here, and an abstract string get details. We can have a concrete method also, like we have a method which will return me the string, maybe get name. S should be caps, like get name. A get name method. This is a concrete method, right? You have to understand that. This is what is the error here? I think two things. Okay, I will say here return. I'll do nothing but return the name. So that means I have to somewhere fulfill the name. I have to initialize these names and all, right? Oh, this is not a method, sorry. Okay, so this is now in my abstract class. I'm having a field string name, I'm having a abstract method which is a contract between the parent class and the subclasses, and I'm having a concrete method. So this is my concrete method, which is the get name, which will return me the name. Okay, I want to get name, I will have that code here. So if I have other guys also, address and name and all, I will do it here. I will then return them here or just print them out here, right? So now in a subclasses, but that means I need also some constructors to initialize this name, to initialize this roll number, to initialize this salary and all. Maybe I will use some parameterized constructors. For example, if I go to the teacher class, student class, I will create a constructor in a student class. What will be the constructor here? What will be the name of the constructor here? Yeah, very good. It will be student. It is a student. You put in front public or default, whatever. And I am passing, when I will create the student object, I will pass it two things. One, I will pass the name. I will say string n, that will go to the n, and also the integer type roll number r, right? And this guy, you know, n and int r, basically what comes from the parent class, I will call here the super and send it this n. That means I'm not going to work with the names, what comes from top side, because there may be name, address and a lot of things. I would have a constructor there which will initialize that. I will reuse that. Okay, otherwise I have to use that piece of code what I will write here in every subclass. So I will not use, I will use here in the parent class itself. I will have a constructor, for example, which is of type person, a constructor which is taking string type n. I can reuse the n because n in the downside is a local variable. Now I can initialize name is equal to n. Not only with the name, I could have a lot more things that I will initialize here. So this piece of code will be here only, and that will be reused by all of our subclasses. So likewise, my student class is reusing that code by calling the super. By calling the super, that means the with the n, that is parameterized constructor of a parent class, right? Okay, and what will left out is the r, that we will put it in our roll number, because I will here deal with what I have, that is I have roll number. So I will put in my roll number this r, and this string n I will send it to the parent class. Are you getting me or not? So what is the error here? Okay, it's telling me that we had to override the abstract method. We haven't yet overridden the abstract method get details, is it or not? So we have to override it here first. This is to be overridden, isn't it not? That if you have an abstract class and that we have an abstract method which doesn't have a body, the body has to be in the student class itself, that is the subclass. So we have to do, the signature should be same. When you override, the signature should be same, isn't it? You cannot restrict it, because this is, for example, it is default. You cannot make it here a private or like that. If it is a public here, we could have a public this thing, no problem whatsoever. You cannot make it like a, we say string get details, right? If I say string get details and try to override it, it will have a problem because I am restricting the scope. Because here the string get detail is a public, and here I'm making it default, so I have to make it public also here. I can extend the, for example, here I don't have a public, I have a default. I can make it public, so I can extend the scope but not restrict the scope. That is for when you override something is necessary, right? So abstract string get details is here, and we have public string get details, and this is the same method to be overridden here. Only thing is I'm putting here abstract, right? You can put a public or not public, that's your choice. Okay. So what I am saying is, now in this I have to do something. Maybe I will return I will deal with only here with my data I have here. I have a roll number here, so maybe I will say return because I'm gonna return something which is a string type. I will say roll number is equaled and concatenate it with the roll number. So no problem whatsoever. So what will be returned out is roll number is equal to roll number of this student. And we also have here get name, which will later on maybe I will also use here like this. Name is equal to and concatenate with the name. So this name will be get returned from the get name from the person class. Okay, so now my student class is perfectly done. My person class is perfectly done. So similarly, I have to build my teacher class and employee class, right? In a teacher class, I will have a constructor first, okay, which is of type teacher. I will just make it, I will forward it so that it will become a little easy. So let me not forward it that much, let's understand it. So teacher, I'm going to say teachers, this is a constructor which again has a teacher extends person, right? So it must have that common thing which has come from the person, that is the name. I'm telling you, we could have a lot of things, but for simplicity I'm using name only. Okay, that name is also belonging to the person class, for this teacher class, and also it has the this thing get name also inherited from the person class. Abstract class, you need to implement it. And so my teacher class is having its salary, the name from the person class, also the get name from the person class. And now I am using constructor of teacher class to, when I will create an object, I will call this teacher class, teacher constructor, and I'm giving it in a parameter string n for the name, and also I have to use for the double salary. So I will say double S, right? So what we did in a student class, we'll do it here. We'll call the super and send it n. That will again reuse this piece of code. That's the constructor of the person class. This piece of code will be reused, is it or not? Again this reused. So if you have a 10-20 things here, this piece of code I don't have to write in my student class and teacher class and other classes, rather I will reuse them all the time by calling the super. And what is left out, S, that I'll put in a salary. Salary is equal to S. But the error will not go here because I have not implemented the get details method. I have to give the body off to this get details method, isn't it? So I will just copy it here. You understand it's the same, it need to have same signatures. The scope you can extend but not limit, and put it in your teacher class here. Let's shrink a bit. There is also an error in it, is salary, or what I'm doing, S-A-L-A-R is salary. Now there's no problem. Now this error will go off when I implement our where's the paste, here we go. But it need not to be abstract, right? But if you're writing abstract, here, you should understand that it is what's called as passing the buck. That means we can have, for example, this is my abstract class, and a subclass of it, if this is also abstract class, okay, a subclass can also be abstract class, which is abstract methods in it. This is also abstract class. So something was in it which was needed to be implemented. I mean, abstract method, this was needed to be implemented by the subclass. But the subclass itself is an abstract class. That means it is to pass the buck. So this abstract method, and maybe we have also the abstract methods here, that also need to be implemented downside somewhere, some subclass of downside, if that is a concrete, okay, that has to implement all these guys. If this is also abstract, this is also to pass the buck, unless we do not meet some concrete class downside, that has to implement all those above abstract methods, right? Okay, but what I'm saying here is that I will not write this abstract. This is my concrete class, okay, this teacher class, a concrete class. So I will use a not terminator here, rather I will have a body, not the terminator. I will have a body in it, okay. There's one error in it. What's the error? missing return. Yes, I have to use some return type. So what I will do in this get details of the teacher class, what I did in a get details of a student class, I will return the roll number. Here I will return the salary, isn't it? Okay, so what I will return here is I will use a little bit what's called a string.format. That gives me a little bit of formatted stuff and all. Okay, string.format, then I have to use some string in a formatted form, and I'm saying that in a double quotes I'm saying salary is equal, and then I say $, then %.2f. that means you can understand what's that .2f, very simple. And from what? Salary. What in a print is salary, right? Okay, so that's it. So what I'm doing in the get details, this was the abstract method which I have overridden in my teacher class, is the say salary. I use a string.format here, which is doing the formatting here. It's very simple, and printing out the salary with the test of the decimal 2 digits, right, in a proper format. So similarly, I can have a employee class which is having the same thing. I will here differently forward it and just put in the things. So again, what we have a constructor here. This constructor will do what? When we create the employee object, we basically set it two things. One is the name and one is the designation, and it calls the super, reuses the super constructor of the person class, that is this thing. This piece of code will again reused, so no need to write it again, and no need to create the name of the employee here, because name already we have created in the person class. You can understand we could have a lot of things there which need not to be defined here. And according to the contract, I have to build this member function which will get details, so which have the same signatures, and it returns me the designation. And you can understand now, if tomorrow you have made the things and then tomorrow some other guy want to make his own class, like in a college we will have some other something, like we have the library class which have the book details and all. So if that is extending from the person class, right, okay, then like we have not the books, or maybe we have, okay, we have the books also have the name, or we may have the like employees, we have the other staff, okay, class, which have those things which are common to the person class here, right, because books cannot be person. So if we have some other staff which is a person class which has all those things common, and I want to create that, but this class, this person and all was made by one developer, and now second developer is making that, but we will not have an error, because if you are trying to implement the person class, you have to go by the contract, right? So then there will be constraint, but we have a constraint that our this get details has to be implemented by you if you're making a subclass of a person class which has a signatures like this, right? So does it make a sense or not? I think it does. So it's returning the, so there are no errors whatsoever here, because we are going by the contract also. So we have in a person class name and constructor, and the get name is a concrete class. This belongs to everyone now. Anybody who extends from the person class will have the get name, will have the name, and this public abstract string get details has to be implemented. It is a bodiless method in the person class, right? Now the turn comes to give life to the things. Now what I will do here is like this. I will say person type, and I make an array, and I'm saying again of a person, and I'm saying 3, size is 3. Now you may be confused that you're saying, hey, I was telling you that what's the error here? First let me see what's the error here. Public class Juni, and let me see what starting point mean. The error is saying illegal static declaration in the class Junaid.person. How can it goes into the person? That means I have forgot the brace, I think, in a person class. Oh, I have forgot the brace here. Yes, it was getting everything in a person class, so that was the problem. Now it's fixed, no problem whatsoever. So what I'm doing here is I am trying to create a new person. So what I was telling you in the last video also, that we cannot create a person type object, but what the heck I'm doing here, isn't it I'm creating a new object of type person when the person is abstract. Now you can question me, how can I create a new person, isn't it? So what is this all about? Let us see it diagrammatically. What is this all about? So what basically we are having is, we have a, for example, a stack. This is my stack here, right? In the stack I'm having the P, a reference variable of type person, and what I'm doing this time is I'm not creating an object, rather I am creating an array. An array is an object, that's why I have a new, because to create an array I need a new, because array itself is an object. So in the heap, this is my heap, for example, I'm creating an array of person. So it actually makes an array which has a 3 boxes, name which is of type person, and the P is pointing to this array. Now what is this array of? It is of, again, the pointers, as good as P was. Like we had a P in the beginning which was not pointing to the array, but which was like, I say person P, like here I say person P, okay, without this thing this is not valid, right? I'm saying person P, for example, at that time the P is created which can take the address of the object. Here I'm having P. This P is not like this. This P is a reference variable which takes the address of the array like this, which is of the person type, means it can take inside the addresses of the objects. So what I'm gonna do is I will then create 3 objects. One is my student, one is my teacher, one is my employee, and I will put the address of this into the box number 1. In the box number 2 I will put this one. In the box number 3 I will put this one. So this is creating me a array of reference variables. I'm having three because I have 3 objects to put in, and then tomorrow I will put inside these boxes the addresses of the object. So what I'm saying here is not creating the object of type person, rather I am creating again the reference variables of the reference array. That's again a reference array which can take the addresses of the objects, not the object itself. But this need to be in a heap, not in a stack, because I am using new to create the array and not the object. Getting me? This was the important point here. Now what will be the next step? I have to drop these addresses, the objects in the P of 0. I will drop the address of the student, for example. In the P of 1, address of the teacher, and P of, because it's a P array now, P of 2, I will drop the address of the third guy. What was that? Employee. Are you getting me or not? Okay, so what I will say here, the P of 0 is equal to, right, new, I'm creating the new student, for example, I'm creating new student, and I have to call the constructor of the student. So what will happen here is, as we have done previously, the student object will be created and its address will be dropped into the P of 0. You getting me or not? But the student here, I cannot use the default constructor because I have a parameterized constructor in a student which is taking 2 arguments, as you could see here, the name and the roll number. I have to give string type and the integer type. Then the name, it will pass on to the person class by the super call, which initializes the name, and roll number I initialize here. So I will pass here, for example, a student. Okay, Junaid, I'm a student or teacher? Okay, let me be my favorite name. That should be, it's Junaid. Now a roll number 1 to 3, something like that. Now bingo, we are done. So what we are doing is, this is a polymorphic reference variable P, which is not of now, which has 3 boxes, which can refer to the 3 objects, not a single object as we use it here. We could not have done this. This is the wrong way. I could have said person P. If I say person P, then it could have taken address of the one at a time. I want 3 addresses simultaneously. Okay, I can reuse the P. First I drop in the P address of the student, then I drop in the P address of the teacher, and then address of the employee, and then I can call P dot get details. Now depending upon which address is in a P, the get details will be called. That is the polymorphism, because I'm having the get details here, here, and also here. Now depending upon which address is in a P, because P belongs to the parent class, right, the person class, and now which subclass object's address is in a P, depending on that, P dot get details will be bound with that definition. Will it be bound to the student class get details? Will it be bound to the teacher class get details, which is returning me salary, or will it be bound to the employee class get details, which is returning me designation? Right, that depends on what is in a P. So first I'm initializing P of 0 with the new of student, and P of 1 then I will initialize with the new of the teacher. Again I have to use the parameterizer constructor. Maybe I'm saying some teacher, like here I'm not saying the Junaid, I say my favorite name is Moomin. Okay, my teacher class here is, say for example teacher is a Junaid, fine, and there was something like a salary, there's something, so maybe it is some 3 4 5 6 8.00, something like that. I'm setting it a double, and that's all, that's it. And now P of 2, I'm putting in it new of the employee. Again I have to use the parameters constructor, send 2 names, say I'm sending Amir, and I'm sending a designation. I have to send designation also, say he is an analyst, and that's it. You getting me? So I have now a situation that I'm having a person P, which is a reference array, a polymorphic reference array, which can take in the P of 0 I'm having new student, in a P of 1 I'm saying teacher, in a P of 2 I'm saying employee, putting the employee. So this is heterogeneous array, not a homogeneous array, because in a homogeneous array, if it is a character type, it can take only character value. It's an integer type, it can take only integer value. But here it is a heterogeneous, because it's taking the different different objects in it. Student is totally different object, teacher is totally different object, employees. So in a P of 0 I'm putting student, and P of 1 teacher, and P of 2 employee. I think you are getting it now. Now the time comes to call this get details and get name and all, right? What I will do here is I will use a for loop. That will be a better, and that to be extended for loop, you must be knowing what is that. For I say for, oh my god, what's happening? For person type, I create a person type. Again, maybe pp is to, and drop it the array. What is the array? That is the P. I will drop the array one by one into the pp. It can take one, because it's a person type, a reference variable, it can take one address at a time, one address object at a time, and this extended for loop will go for the p dot length. Now what are the array length here is, I'm having here p like this, p of 0, p of 1, and this. Okay, so I'm creating pp here, which is of type person, which can take the address of the object from the p array. This is the p reference array, polymorphic array, which has polymorphic reference inside. So first, what extended for loop does is, what is in the first of the address of the object of the first p of 0, that will go into the pp and does some job here inside the for loop, right? Then it will go to the p of 1, put that into the pp, then do some job on that, then put this one into the pp and do some job on that, inside the for loop. So this will be and after that we don't have anything, so it will stop. The for loop will come out of the for loop. So what we do is we say here, maybe the brace, where is my cursor? Okay, I say person, while saying system.out system.out.println, and inside I will say, I will call the get name. Was that the get name there? Because I need name in all the time, so I will use this get name. Okay, so I will say p dot get name, right, function. I concatenate it with maybe backslash n, because give me in the, should I get section or should I get the space? Okay, I should get space. Then concatenate it with the get details. So I say p dot get details. What was that? Get details or something? I think it was get details, but I forgot what was the name. Yeah, it was get details. So why is not showing? Means there is some problem. So I say p dot get details. Somehow it's not showing me. There's some problem. Let me see that. P dot get details and terminator. There is problem with the get name and get details. Let's fix it out. Oh, I don't have an access to the p here. I'm putting that p in the pp, so it should be pp dot get details and pp dot get name, right? So what will happen now is it will loop from the p of 0, put the student address in a pp, then student dot get name will be called, then student dot get details will be called, and next time it will drop the teacher. This p1 has a teacher address that will be dropped on the pp, and this calls the pp dot get name and pp dot get details of the teacher, and then employee. Lastly, that will be last employee dot get names and employee dot get name and get details, right? So I think this will work fine. We have done every piece of it. Is there any error or not? So let's, before we run it, let's recap what we have done. We have an abstract class person. Okay, so we have an abstract class person. What is doing it? We have in it the name. Okay, this is our so we are having abstract class person, which is having the name in it, which is having the person, a constructor which initializes this name, and we have a method which is to be implemented by the subclasses, which is like a contract, and we have a concrete method get name which works on what data member it has, like a name. If we had like name, others, age and all, we have to do all of them here, right? Then we are extending things from the person class. That means this everything will go into the person class except the constructor, and if we have something private, which we don't have here, and the person class has to implement the student class has to extend the person class. That means it has to implement this method get details, right? And we are doing all that stuff in other classes as well. Like we have here the person class, teacher class, which extends person. It has the teacher constructor, it has the get details implemented, and employee also, it has designation in addition to the name, it has designation, right? And then we have employee constructor, and then we have get details here, public string get details, which is to implement from the superclass method, and in the constructors we call the superclass constructor, sending that name and initializing its data method. Then we have in a public class, we have a public class here in which we have a void main, and in that I'm creating a reference array and putting it all of them into the like student, teacher, employee, then using the person for extended for loop to go all into all of these and call the pp.get name. Now this is polymorphic pp because I'm using the same piece of code, pp.get name, pp.get details, but dropping in a pp once the student, then in it the teacher, and then in it the employee. Because pp is of type person, it can take all kind of object addresses which belongs to its subclasses, right? So this is a sheer polymorphism. Now it's time to give it a go. Now if you could see here, I'm seeing the name is equal to movement, roll number is 1 2 3. This is the student, then this is a something like the teacher, which is having in dollars this much of salary and name, and then there's an Amir who has the designation of analyst. So we could have done that in a different way also, but this way, you know, this gives us a lot of ease, and we could have written the same piece of code. Now question is, you do not have to change this. If tomorrow you create some others, say for example you have some other class which implements the get details and all, so you have the same piece of code. Only thing is you have to extend your array here to the 4 or something and allow that, put the address of that. Only thing you have to put the address of that here and start doing. You don't have to change any damn thing from the person class, is it or not? So that will have no effect whatsoever in a person class code. It will work perfectly like it is. So that means if this class is being written by one developer and another developer is extending this and putting new classes into it, we have no effects whatsoever. And my pp.getName and pp.getDetails is working polymorphically depending on what is in a pp. Are getting me or not? I think we are done with the abstract classes. Now it's time to take on interfaces, right? We'll see that in the next video, the interfaces and then application of interfaces in maybe the clone class and cloning and all. So until then, I say, you know, this will be the end of this segment, and gotta say, see ya.